So we're seeing something in the housing market we haven't seen in a long time, multiple offers on a house. Earlier, WTOP's Deborah Feinstein talked about it with Eldad Moraru of Long & Foster.
Tell us a little bit about this house that's up for sale on Capitol Hill. It's priced below market value, and it's getting a lot of attention.
Yes, it is. I actually had to dust out the old escalation clause the other day. I haven't used one of those in a couple of years. But this particular property was priced in not only my but several other people's opinion well below market value. Property shows extremely well, and the market does what it's supposed to do, and that is correct accordingly. So when underpriced, like it was in this situation, the market is correcting upwards. In the past, we've seen the market correct downwards, where properties, if they're overpriced, they sit on the market too long and end up going well below the asking price. So here's an example of where it's working the other way. We're seeing something we haven't seen in a while.
So obviously that's great news for the sellers because the price of their house is increasing with these multiple offers.
Well, yeah, what you're hoping is that where you end up is at least at fair market value or higher. Clearly in this situation it was priced below fair market value. In the past, a few years ago, what sellers were seeing was that buyers were paying a premium above the fair market value. We still don't know where this particular property will end up, so it'll be interesting to see after it settles and that information is public knowledge, whether indeed it actually went at, below, or above fair market value.
A couple of weeks ago, we remember you had multiple offers as well on a house in Virginia. The price didn't go up, but there were some other perks for the seller.
Right. So what we saw on this listing of mine is that this was obviously a very desirable property that showed well, was priced correctly. We were not underpriced, but because the market is, in my opinion, improving and rates are low, we did get more than one buyer put an offer on the property. The perk to the seller is not that it went above asking or the price went up as a result, but the terms of the contracts because there was a competition were more advantageous to the seller than if there had only been one offer. So shorter contingencies, less contingencies, things like that. I
guess the key is if you're considering putting a desirable home on the market, price it right.
That's exactly right. We've seen a lot of sellers as of recent, the past year, feeling they're probably going to have to negotiate and making the mistake of pricing higher than where they should be, thinking that, well, that just gives me more room to negotiate when those buyers come up with an offer. And that's not really how it works.
From a buyer's perspective, what does the buyer need to know in terms of escalation clauses? How much should a buyer be willing to escalate on their price?
You got to think of a couple things. Number one, you've got to look at the comparables and figure out for yourself what is the fair market value, in my opinion, for the property, and then understand what your limits are. Don't get carried away and all of a sudden find yourself having won the competition and paying a price that nets a monthly payment much higher than you had planned when you first started looking.
That's Eldad Moraru of Long & Foster.